Welcome to today's practice. And very shortly, we are actually going to start in a seated meditation today. Something we're not always comfortable with. So we'll look at that. And today, in a way, the practice is about taking little baby steps. It's quite a strong practice, especially around the hips. And we will be doing quite a lot of balances. So if that's not something you're fond of, perhaps encourage yourself to try, because yoga teaches us to be with difficulty sometimes. It's about observing ourselves with self-awareness, with compassion, but not shying away from things that perhaps are a little bit difficult. So really the whole, if you like, theme of today's practice is self-compassionate awareness as we take little baby steps. On an anatomical perspective, it's a good strengthening practice today for our outer hips, especially in our legs. As we get older, it's really important that we build strength into our practices because our muscles do what we call atrophy, muscular atrophy. But if we're not careful, we can just get caught up in the doom and gloom of getting older. So let's not do that. So I invite you now to sit on your yoga mat, and we're going to do 3 minutes meditation. And that isn't very long, but notice straight away if there's any resistance there. Meditation is an invitation to be with. So come to a comfortable position, and that might be cross-legged as I am here, or it might be lying down or sitting in a chair. And just allow your eyes to soften or close completely. And let go of any expectation that you should be feeling this way or that way. And just give yourself this permission to just be with yourself. Feel your sit bones rooting you to the earth. You might have a little wiggle. Find yourself in a place where you feel balanced. And from there, elongate the spine. Little rolling back of the shoulders. Keep the heart space open. And just notice now what it feels like to be you in this moment as you take a really conscious breath in. And as you breathe out, can you just relax around the hips, the face, the shoulders? And for this meditation, we're simply going to focus on our breath. Notice the breath as it comes in through your nose. Notice the breath out, maybe through the mouth or back out through the nostrils. If that's too subtle, focus on sensation of breath in belly. Perhaps you feel the belly rising and expanding as you inhale. A sense of softening as you exhale. Just pick one focal point of the breath and stay with that now for about 5 more breaths. So just noticing now the breath has consciously slowed down if your thoughts have, and if they haven't, no worries. See if you can just stick with this simple breath awareness for about another minute. And if it's too much for you, simply repeat, I am breathing in, I am breathing out, the Buddha's first teaching. Now take 3 more deep breaths. Let each breath get a little deeper, a little bit more spacious. And finish with a sigh. And just take note that we call this a yoga practice, not yoga perfect. What are you practicing right now? What thoughts are dominant? What bodily sensations? Your reaction to those? Because that's the yoga, not the shapes that we take. So let's start now this practice today where we might just consider what it feels like to take baby steps. So let's come down onto the ground, and we're very much connecting to our roots today. As we come onto our back, just lift and spread all of your toes, and then root your toes down as you lift up the heels. And then just consciously press all of the foot onto the ground. And now from there, let's just move our knees over to the left. And then slowly move the knees over to the right. And your arms can be out wide or they can rest on you. And just feel the sole of the foot, hard edges of the foot, sole of the feet, even hard edges of the feet. And then next time, as long as it's comfortable for your back, next time your knees are over to the left, just keep them there so they're not together. Look over at your right hand and take a deep breath all the way down the right side of the body. And see if you can just press your right knee a little further to the ground. You might have quite strong sensations in your outer hips. That's where we're working today. And then slowly come up and come over to the other side. Looking over to the left, press that left knee away, breathing in. And come back to center. And then let's lift the feet up to the sky and have a little look at them now as you start to circle the ankles. Circle them one way, then the other. We stand on our feet all day, but we often don't give them a second thought. And now let's roll up and down the spine a few times, and we're going to go straight over onto all fours. So crisscross the shins. So this next one is a stretch for the feet. So I've heard it called toe torture. I can't imagine why. I'm sure you'll work it out. Let's turn the feet up, and it's the little toe that's the most stubborn. And then just start to walk your hands back. Press your hands down into the ground as you really start to stretch the feet. And that might be enough for you. It really is for me, if I'm honest. But you might decide to walk your hands up to your thighs and even take them to prayer, probably praying that it's over soon. So really feel your feet. Want to do this as we get older again because our arches soften and that impacts on our knees and hips. So can you now breathe through this difficulty? Just as if we're still meditating, the breath is smooth, the breath is long. And let's come forward, take our hands flat and tap out the tops of the feet. So if there's any consolation, that's probably the worst thing we do in this practice. Let's take the hands really wide and come into some cat and cow. As you inhale, the heart rises. As you exhale, tuck the chin and round. Inhale, long spine, heart rises. Exhale, tuck the chin and round. And you can do this or start to turn it into more of a swirly pattern with circles. You might be ready to come into a child's pose and then back up again. So rounding as you exhale, sitting on heels. Inhale, bend the elbows, come back. So just a little bit more to loosen up the back. And then final option, if you want to add a little bit of upper body strength, sit back into child, come up to all fours, and bend the elbows in as you duck down towards the ground. So not quite a press up, but thereabouts. So inhale, all fours. Exhale, elbows hugging. Drop the chin down, inhale back, and set back. So I don't know if you can hear, I'm really cracking here, so you might hear a few cracks in your joints. One or two more, just building resilience, building strength. And that's so important if we're working on anything that we want to change. So let's come back to all fours now and think a little bit more about our feet. Take your right leg back and lengthen the back of the calf. And as you press into the center of the right heel, you might lift your left knee and ankle up. Keep the spine long. Take those 2 smooth breaths, just like we were when we were meditating. And then drop your left shin down as you flip to the right hand foot, plants on the mat, left hand underneath your face, and you sweep the right arm up. Option one is to stay here. This is a good side body stretch. Maybe take the right arm over your ear. Alternatively, lift your right leg up and really press into your right heel and then pulse. And perhaps turn your toes to the ground. Again, feel that outer hip. So just notice why you make the choices you do. We're just working within our own range. And then let's extend that right hand all the way back down again. Take the right knee down and either stay with your cat and cow or variations, or possibly you'll come into down dog. And in down dog, really mindfully place the hands, spread your fingers, lift your heels, and then ease your heels down. Press those arms into the ground, make your back really long, and take 2 deep breaths. Smooth deep breaths, just like in the meditation. And let's drop the knees back down again. Take a moment to land, to shift the weight forward and back. And let's practice with our feet again. So this time we're taking the left leg back, press into center of heel, lift up the right knee and the right. Or keep the shin down, of course. Keep the spine long, 2 smooth breaths. And then drop your right shin as, again, you twist to the side. So the left foot comes down, lift up the left arm. This is a good side stretch, good choice. Arm over ear maybe, possibly left leg lifts. And turn the left foot down as you pulse. Again, we're really strengthening our outer hip here. And this is so important as we get older. One more deep breath. And let's come back onto all fours. And again, let's make our way into downward facing dog. Press the hands, the heels back. Let's come through a vinyasa now. Breathing in, let's come forward to a plank pose. Drop the knees if you want to. Otherwise, just come forward and back a little bit on your wrists. Really use your stomach strength, your core to hold you up here. And then drop down onto your knees, lower gently down onto the earth. And as you come to the earth, take the hands behind you, press into your toenails and lift your heart as you reach back into your fingertips. 2 full deep breaths here. And now let's take the hands next to our upper shoulders, squeeze those elbows in and come into a baby cobra. Breathing in, lift up. Exhale, come back. If that's too strong, stick with the first option. Do that one more time. Inhale. And come all the way back. And once again, let's come back to downward facing dog. And take 3 deep breaths. The only aim is for the breath to be full, to be slow. And look at your feet. So bend your right knee now as much as you comfortably can and turn the left heel in, left toes out, and just press your body back. Get a stretch all the way down the back of the left leg there. Again, the outer hip. Let's turn that one in and do the other side. Bend the left knee, right toes turn out, breathing into the right side of your body. And rather than stories about whether this is hard or whether it feels nice, can we use the body as a way to be present? Just feeling it. Take a breath. And then look towards the hands. You might be ready for a hop, or you might walk towards the front of your mat. All choices are good. Breathing in, take a flat back. And exhale to fold. Do that one more time. And then really consciously press into the feet as you slowly fold all the way up to stand. Arms overhead. Exhale. Hands to the heart space. So we're going to come into today's sequence, and it's a repetitive one. You will need probably a couple of bricks, or if you don't have them, soup cans or something else. If not, just make do with the floor. So standing at the front of the mat now, press your hands together into a prayer pose. We're going to come into chair. Sink all the way back, take your hips back. Just take a moment here, really feel the feet, the calf muscles. I'm just going to build a bit of heat now as you inhale, lift the arms in front of you. Exhale the breath away as you legs. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the arms, and then release it all one more time. So this is where the fun starts. From here, let's lift up our left heel, find balance. Now lift up the left knee. Maybe take the arms up. Take a moment here establishing balance if it's there. Take the hands back to prayer and we're going to curtsy. Take the left knee behind the right knee and really sink deep. This is where we start to feel our hips. Press your hands together and breathe. So we're going to do this slow and then we're going to speed it up. One more deep breath. Now let's come back to the knee lift. You might be feeling it already. Just breathe. And step the left foot in front of the right foot. Press down into the feet. Keep the hands pressed. Maybe try closing your eyes. So that is a balance. Now let's take those baby steps. Let's come up onto our tiptoes. Probably eyes open now. Breathe into this moment. Drop the right heel. And now we're going to take behind us, but we're going to use the bricks to help us. As the left leg comes back, take the heart and chest in front and just take a moment here in this balance. Feel the outer right hip. Press into the center of the right heel. And now let's land. Left toes are down, left heel is lifted. Sweep the arms all the way up to the sky as we come into a high lunge. And reach so tall, as you exhale, slowly come forward, fingers behind. Remember those meditation breaths in the beginning. Inhale, we rise up. Exhale, we come back. And when we go slow, we build a lot more strength. Final time. And this time as we come up, open your arms wide to the right. So you're going towards the bent knee. Spread your palms wide and breathe into your whole body. Press firmly into the feet. Inhale back to your high lunge. And now we turn our body into warrior two. I'm just going to flip directions. In your warrior two, again, really anchor your feet and start to come forward and back. So leaning forward, leaning back. Again, use the body as a tool to stay present. What sensations can you feel? Do that one more time. And now find that perfectly centered space. Well, no such thing as perfect, it's overrated. Head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Reach into your fingers and take 3 very full, deep, smooth breaths. Remember the practice, it's the practice. What are you practicing at the moment? What thoughts? Are they kind? Let's reverse our warrior now. The left hand comes back and the right arm lifts up and ahead. And take 3 deep breaths. So this is our very basic sequence. We're just going to keep adding on. Now as you come back to warrior two, turn your feet a long ways on the mat. They're parallel. Lift your arms up to the sky. Close your eyes. This is called power pose. Just really opening up your energetic body. Feel everything. You might feel tingles, warmth. Just welcome it all in. Feel all the feels. That's why we do yoga, to create space. Then hands to hips. Heels are in. Let's come into a squat. And just start to sway a little bit. And notice how quickly the mind can change from maybe loving one pose, not loving another. Just notice all of it. And slowly get your body closer to the earth. And then come to a forward fold. Feet are parallel now as you let the head be heavy and weighty. And breathe into your whole body. And then from here, we're going to walk towards the front of the mat. So take that right foot forward. And you're either going to rest here in a lunge, step forward, or you might come into a vinyasa. So we're all going to meet at the front of our mat. Breathing in, you come forward. Exhale, you lower. Inhale, rising up. And if vinyasas are too much, then you step forward from the lunge. In downward facing dog, take 3 deep breaths. Lift up the heels, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, take a flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise up again. Exhale, hands to heart. Close your eyes. What are you feeling? Where are the thoughts? What are you practicing in this practice? Let's do all of that on the second side. Let's sink down into our chair pose. Inhale, arms in front. Exhale, behind. 2 more of those with the breath. Inhale up. Inhale up. And this time, we lift up the right heel. So here is enough, or maybe you lift up the right knee completely. Press the hands together. Deep breath. Right knee comes behind the left knee again, and we're curtsying. Press those hands together. So you might feel this in the back of the right calf, the right heel. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale back up to your knee lift. Step the foot in front. So again, both feet facing forward. Find your balance. Perhaps close your eyes. Now let's lift up the heels. Deep breaths. Drop your left heel. Let's come back into the balance using the bricks as support. So long spine. Kick back into the center of the right heel. Notice thoughts. Notice feelings, everything. Just come back to present. Drop the toes down. Lift your arms up for a high lunge. Extend into fingertips. Deep breath in. Exhale, fingers behind. Slowly. Inhale, we rise. Slowly behind. Inhale, we rise. Slowly behind. And let's come up and come in. Arm forward, left hand back. Breathe in as you sit. And inhale back to your lunge. Warrior 2. So again, just move forward and back. Notice where in your hips feel tightest. And we're just doing this to get present. Find that central space. Perhaps there's a deeper bend in that front thigh, and breathe into your whole body 3 times. And the warrior is really about embodying our power and strength. Just notice, right now, are you a warrior or a worrier? Just notice. What are you practicing? Lean forward, left palm turns up. Breathe you in as you come back. Coming into reverse warrior. Keep bending the left knee. And breathe into the whole body. Back we come, and we take the forearm to the thigh, and the right arm comes up and over. So again, we're coming into that side angle pose, breathing in and breathing out. One more deep breath. Rise up, hands to hips. Turn the heels in. Let's come back into a squat. So sink in a little deeper this time. And this time we're going to lift up our arms into like a cactus and take chin mudra, index finger and thumb touching. Sink as deep as is comfortable. And then lean to the left. Elbow tucks into waist. Come all the way up. Lean to the right. Right elbow to waist. So just stretching your oblique muscles. Do that a couple more times. And then lengthen the legs, lengthen the arms, lift up the heart, spread your hands, coming into this star pose or hero pose. One more breath, feel all the energy moving through you. And then let's come down to a fold, take the toes in, allow the head to be heavy and weighty, and decide what medicine you need right now. Is it stillness? Do you a little bit? And perhaps do the opposite to what you normally do, because yoga invites us to change our habits. Sometimes we move because we can't bear to be still and we just want another distraction. Pause now in stillness, breathe into the whole body. And same options, we're going to turn to the front of the mat. You might step your back foot into the front, or you might come through a vinyasa. So coming back to downward facing dog. Both choices are good. Coming forward, lowering to the earth, breathing in, and coming back, downward facing dog. Take a moment there just to breathe, and breathe away everything that's been and gone. Lift up your heels, look forward, step a hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Little bend in the knees. Breathe in as you come up to stand. Exhale, hands to your heart. So we're going to do that same sequence again, but just perhaps adding on a little bit if you wish. Remember, it's always optional, and just perhaps going a little bit more pacey. So coming into chair pose, arms lift up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale, arms lift up. Exhale, straight into a knee lift now. Inhale. Find your balance. Keep to the earlier option if that's better. Lift your arms, lift your heart, take a breath. Hands to heart, let's come back into the curtsy and sit down deep. Press your palms together and just take 2 breaths. Maybe you sink a little deeper this time, that might be your challenge. Inhale, lift that left knee again. Step the foot in front and straight away lift up both heels. Press your palms together to keep you grounded. Option this time, as you drop the right heel, is to come into warrior 3. So remember, your bricks are there if you need to. Otherwise, perhaps don't use your arms this time. Hands to prayer behind you or in front. Find your balance. And drop the left toes down. Inhale, come into your high lunge. Exhale, fingers behind. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, fingers behind. This time, once again, option is a twist or take a prayer twist. So arms are wide, or your left elbow comes outside the right thigh, and press your left hand into your right to help you rotate the spine. Press into your feet, spread the toes, and breathe. And now the next 2 breaths, make them like we did in the meditation. Smooth, slow, spacious. Let's come back into our high lunge and come into warrior 2. So just one time, this time come forward a little bit, come back a little bit, find center. So the option on this side is to lift up your right heel. So this is how we strengthen the hip as well as our pelvic floor, but only if it serves you. Take a breath. Keep the heel lifted as you come into reverse warrior. Breathe well, breathe fully. Keep the heel lifted as you come into side angle pose, forearm to thigh, left arm up and over. And just lightly turn your heart and chest up to the sky. One more very smooth breath. And now drop that right heel. And how nice that feels afterwards. Take a breath. Inhale back up. Turn the heels in. We're back into a squat. Let's sink into it. Option to lift up the heels. And make sure you're choosing, because it's a sufficient challenge rather than forcing yourself or being that disciplinarian. Maybe sink a little deeper. One more deep breath. Drop the heels. Lift your arms up. Back into that star pose. And once again, come to a fold. Shake out the head. Allow the energy to settle. Forward folds give us that little time to press pause, to check in. Right now, what are you practicing? Breathe, breathe, breathe. Press into the feet, slowly come up. Pause at the top. And now turn your left toes in, right foot forward. We're going to come into reverse triangle. Lean the body back. We have 2 straight legs. Take a breath. And come all the way into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Right hand to the ankle, left arm lifts up. Lean your upper body back. And press into the little toes here to really engage your inner thighs. Two more smooth breaths, just as we did in the opening meditation. Down to the ground, hands either side of your front foot. So again, you can either step your back foot in, or you come through a vinyasa. Back to downward facing dog, come forward into plank. Lower to the earth, and breathe your way up. Downward facing dog. And again, take a couple of breaths there just to come back to present moment awareness. And one more time, we step or we hop towards the front of the mat. I'm just going to change directions again. And then slowly, slowly, let's rise up. So close your eyes, notice the energy coursing through you. Our life force, our prana. And can you mellow out the breath again, especially if it got a little bit speedy there? So we're doing it again. So we know what's coming now. Choose the right level for you. Let's come into chair pose. Inhale, arms in front. Exhale, straighten the legs. Bend the knees, arms in front. And let's straighten the legs. Final time. Lift up the right knee, the right foot. Whatever form of a balance we have, lift the heart. Smooth breaths. Step that foot. So it's as if we're on a tightrope, and then immediately lift up your heels. Really engage the thigh muscles here. Take it back. I might have gone the wrong way. Sorry, but let's do the curtsy now. So right knee comes behind the left. Go as deeply as you can. And again, we're not getting lost in stories about our body. We're just using it as an opportunity to become present. Inhale, let's lift up the right knee. Then we come into the balance. The long spine. Maybe we use the bricks. Maybe hands are at the heart or another variation. Smooth out the edges of your breath. And let's drop those toes. Inhale, we come into our lunge. Exhale, fingers behind. 2 more of those, super slow. So our options again are we open our arms wide in a twist as we turn to the left, or we take our right elbow just outside the left thigh for our left shoulder, really hollow out the belly. 3 breaths. Inhale, we rise up. We come into warrior 2. And again, we just come forward, then we come back, and we find our center and we breathe. And maybe, just maybe, we lift up the left heel. So when we bring imbalance into the body, asymmetry, the surrounding muscles have to work hard now. So this is how we build that strength. Now let's lean back. Right hand comes back, left arm lifts, huge breath. Heel is still lifted. But you're not a loser if it isn't. So just remind yourself, just notice the way you talk to yourself. Let's have the forearm to the thigh. Right arm comes up and over, still lifting that left heel. And this is one of those practices where you don't need to worry about your heating bill. We can turn it off. One more breath. And let's lift it up, building heat, building warmth. Turn the right heel in. Let's come back into the squat. So we're sinking deep. Maybe this is enough, or maybe we lift the heels up. Pause there. Possibly try lifting up the arms again, the mudra. Maybe you tilt to the left. Maybe you tilt to the right. And go slow as you do that one more time. And drop the heels down completely. Let's come back into the fold. Turn the feet, drop the head, shake it out. See if you can shift the weight a little bit more into your heels. Maybe take the hands in line with the feet. And now take 3 deep, long, smooth breaths. One more. Hold on to your hips. Slowly, 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 come all the way up to stand. Pause at the top, let the energy settle. Then the left foot forward, right foot slightly in as we come into Trikonasana. First we reverse, right hand comes back, left arm lifts up. Then we swap over, left hand comes down, right arm lifts, breathing in and breathing out. Press again into the little toes as you rotate your inner thighs. Inhale, we rise back. Again, you step forward with your back leg, or you come through your final vinyasa. Breathe your way forward into a plank, lower to the earth. Inhale, you rise, and back. The downward facing dog. Breathe into your whole body. Let it all go. Do that one more time. Lift up your heels, look forward. You're stepping or you're walking to the top. Breathe in, flat back. Exhale. Slowly roll up. And just a tiny little bit more now. This is kind of like a peak, if you like, of difficulty. So remember, you can do less. And that's sometimes the biggest challenge, is to do less. Let's lift up our left knee. Let's come straight back into the curtsy. Go deep now. Press your hands together. Your challenge maybe is to lift up your left foot. Feel how strong that right hip is. Inhale, let's come straight back into a knee lift. Back to warrior two. Lean forward, lean back. And final challenge is to possibly now take a half moon balance. The right fingers come to the floor or to a brick, and we turn to the side. So it's like triangle, but with our leg lifted. You might look up if that's easy for you. There's nothing to be gained, no prizes to be had. Take one more deep breath. Then we're going to come into chair pose. Bend your knee. Let's come all the way back to the front of the mat. Come into chair pose. Lift those arms up. Take a deep, deep breath. And then come up to stand. Pause at the top. And if you're anything like me, your breath has gone. Whew. So just come back to mellowing out the breath. We are so nearly done. One more deep breath. Inhale, right knee rises. Straight into the curtsy. Sink as deep as you can, and that's a good place to stay. Right, see if you can balance and lift up that right foot. Oh man, that's hard, isn't it? One more deep breath. Let's come all the way up. Back to the knee lift. Warrior two. Lean forward, lean back. And maybe a cheeky half moon here. So left fingers go down. Start with right hand on the hip and very gently rotate your hips. Spread the toes of that lifted foot. Then you lift your arm up and you breathe. And again, are we breathing through difficulty? Because that's how we build our strength, the muscular strength, but also resilience. One more breath. And let's come back into chair pose. Final time, I promise, breathing in. And we'll come to a fold. And just sway it all out now. And congratulate yourself for making it this far. Then as slowly as you can, bend the knees. Let's come down. And let's just come to lie on our tummy. So just coming into just a couple more back bends. We do enough really in the vinyasas. But we're going to take a sphinx. So elbows are under your shoulder, hands in front of you. And feel like you're kind of sliding yourself forward so that your heart is really opening up and blossoming between the armpits. Notice your lower back. There should be a sensation of sorts, which should never be pain or a stabbing sensation. Just notice. You might just shimmy the hips. And now close your eyes as you drop your awareness into the center of your heart and take 5 breaths there. And just let each breath get progressively slower. Let the mind rest in the space between the eyebrows. And again, what are you practicing right now? Is it kind? Is it compassionate? 2 more breaths, resting if you need to before. And then from there, let's just take ourselves back into a child's pose. Take the toes together, knees wide. If you have something for your forehead, it can be really good to rest it on something. There's a nerve there. So take your third eye to a brick or to the ground
And can you soften and fully, deeply breathe?
So we're going to be here for a few breaths. I'm just going to get up so that I can still talk. And again, just notice now we're quiet and still, that the mind might be spinning off and doing its own thing. What did you choose in meditation to help you stay present? Can you do it now? Focusing on the breath coming in through the nose or through the belly. Or perhaps you're repeating a simple statement. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And just do that for about another 30 seconds. And now, can you take 3 more full deep breaths? Let each one get a little deeper, a little longer. We're going to finish with a sigh. And from your child's pose, can you slowly come up, crisscross your shins, and come to sit back? So we're going to come into some nice forward folds now, simply to, sorry, I can't tell you whether it's nice or not, simply to start to soothe ourselves. So we're going to take the left leg out long and your right knee is bent. So if you have a bolster or a pile of cushions, it can be really nice to come down on them. So what we're looking for really is something for our forehead. So breathing grows so tall as you elongate your spine. And then as you exhale, come to whatever forward fold works for you. And you can always do this with your forearms on the. We're going to be here in total for a minute. So drop your forehead down, soften. And then whatever it is that helps you stay present, use that technique now, whatever focal point it was on the breath. And in her book, Radical Acceptance, Tara Brach repeatedly asked, what would it be like if I could accept my life, accept this moment exactly as it is? Again, notice what it is you're practicing by way of judgy thoughts, comparisons, wishing things were different. What would it be like if I could accept my life, accept this moment exactly as it is? And stay where you are. Take 3 more deep breaths. Let them get deeper. And we're going to turn this into a very subtle twist over the right knee. So whatever you have in front of you, just move it now in front of the knee. So it's quite an easy twist, but we're still staying folded. So we're now folding over the right knee. Allow the left leg to be nice and floppy. And again, remember, we're using bodily sensation as a way to become present. So where are you feeling your breath in your body? Where are you feeling tightness? No need for the stories, just observe. And we're here for 1 minute. What would it be like if I could accept my life, accept this moment exactly as it is? And just notice where you might have been then. Take 3 more deep breaths up and get deeper and longer, more spacious. And yoga is all about creating space. The more space we hold for ourselves, the bigger we can make ourselves a container, then the more space we can hold for others. Slowly, slowly, let's come up. And just extend that right leg, give it a little shake. So these are not challenging poses. The only challenge is to be in them and not somewhere else. So this time your right leg is the long leg out. The left knee is the bent knee. Again, you might have something, bolster, a pile of cushions, a bed, a sofa. Let's come forward into this pose called half butterfly. Make a little pillow for your head and come to fold. And again, we tap into the breath. So 1 minute from now, and if that seems a long time, it's about 6 deep breaths. And you stay present for as many of those breaths as you can. And right now, what are you practicing by way of thoughts? Just notice. Is it compassion, self-awareness? Or is it planning, posting, scheduling? And then just down, if you can, we're going to move to fold over that left leg. So again, we're still folding. Your right hip might be ever so slightly off the floor, the right buttock. Don't worry too much about precise alignment here. It's not the pose we're doing, it's what we're doing in the pose. And a nice quote is that the moment isn't here to be in the pose is here to be in the moment. So what, how are you spending your moment? And take 3 very full deep breaths. Very long, sighing breath out. And then come down to the ground. We're going to finish almost where we started. We started with our feet. Let's drop awareness back into the feet. So today's practice, as always, is a metaphor. We've taken little baby steps, and that sometimes if we are contemplating a change, it's overwhelming. But if we can focus on the baby steps, the big changes take care of themselves. So we're going to finish in a nice hip opener, a really good one to do before bedtime, actually. Feet pressed together. Now, mine, just the perfect spot for me is to have my feet on a bolster with the knees wide. That's just right for my hips. You might prefer to have your feet over a pile of cushions. So I'll just demonstrate now. So it's a slightly softer, but still very powerful, because a couple of minutes here will open hips. And some of us are just so stretchy. I say us, it's not me. You don't use any props at all. You take the feet together and the knees come wide. So just make sure you're not overstretching, you're not over forcing. Sometimes we just keep pushing, but actually there's nothing there. We can just use that as a form of distraction. So find the right place for you. And we're here for 2 minutes. And I'm just going to read you a short reading from Jeff Foster, a really beautiful Buddhist writer. And it's kind of about baby steps and taking our path. And it's called Your True Path. You will stumble, you will fall, fail, and bruise yourself. You will feel like giving up some days. The path won't always seem clear, and you won't always want to carry on. But remember, friend, doubting your path is part of the path. Forgetting your path is part of the path. Feeling lost, without direction, hopeless, is part of the path. Feeling ashamed and alone is part of the path. Try to rest from seeking answers today. The seeking itself pushes away what is sought. Be naked without answers in the first light of morning. In your rush to be there, you forget to be here. Kneel to failure, and you cannot fail. Let's come back to breath by breath, present moment awareness. And just notice, for the final time today, what are you practicing in this moment? And now take 3 more deep breaths. And finish with a long, long, long sighing breath out. And now come to take the rest that you so richly deserve. So generally for most of us, it's good to have something under the back of our knees. Stay in this shape if it's comfortable. Or lengthen your legs out into Shavasana. And this is more about yoga than any of the poses are. It's that carving out the stillness, the space to simply be who you are without needing to change or to fix or to avoid anything. So as you come to rest now, we'll begin this guided meditation through our feet, as that's kind of where we were leading from today. So as you start to lie on the earth, bring your awareness to your feet. And can you soften the toes and the arches of the feet as you rest your awareness there? And as the feet soften and spread, bring your awareness now to the calf muscles. Feel the knees and let the back of the knees get a little looser. Move your awareness into the thigh muscles, to the hips, to the pelvis. And just notice if your pelvis is stable. You might need to do a little wiggle. From the pelvis, the thighs, the calves, the feet, get a sense of restfulness in your legs. Move awareness now into the lower back, and can you release any tension there? Spread your awareness to the side ribs, to the belly, all the way up to the upper chest, the heart. Roll open the shoulders. Allow the arms to rest. Let go of the fingertips. Let go, let go, let go. Relax the facial features. Soften between your eyebrows. And let your awareness rest now in that space between the eyebrows, your third eye. In this space where dreams are witness, just look at the colours, the textures there. And let go of this practice, whether you fidgeted, whether you fell, whether you could keep your mind still, whether you couldn't. And repeat 3 times to yourself, I love and accept myself. I love and accept myself. And just stay there now, breathing in, as if your whole body breathes in. Just come back to this moment now. And breathe into this moment now, noticing everything of it, the smells, sounds, bodily sensations. We'll never get this moment back. Let's really be here, this final few breaths. And in a way that serves you best, take gentle movements back to your body. You might spread your toes, you might spread your fingers. And blessings to this body, this vehicle for this human lifetime. And let's slowly come up to a seat. And as always, I'm so grateful for you to practicing with me. Let's take our hands to prayer. Lift the heart, lift the chest. And just contemplate how things have shifted in this hour that we've spent together. And as you breathe in, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. As you breathe out, take the hands down. And the phrase namaste is the light in me, honors the light in you. Namaste.